Welcome back. We often talk about preventing violence against women, ensuring children are safe within our communities. But what about the elderly among us? Is there such a thing as elder abuse within our communities? The unfortunate answer is yes. I know personally of cases where elders in the Muslim community were deprived of basic meals within their homes. Is this story one of many, or is it just an anomaly? We had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Ryhana Dawood to discuss her research on elder abuse in the Muslim community. Here is our interview with her now. Welcome back to the show, Ryhana.
Thanks for having me.
So elder abuse is not a topic we often hear about in the community, and I know that's something that you did your research on. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with that particular topic.
Sure. So in medical school, during third year, we're required to do rotations in different fields. And so I selected to do a 2-week elective in geriatrics, which is the sort of medical care geared for elders. And so during this time, I got connected with a local geriatrician named Dr. Nakvi, who was really interested in looking a little bit more into topics such as elder abuse in the Muslim community. And so we brainstormed together. I told him a little bit about my work with Marshall Smarts, and he thought that me being interested in advocating for people that are victims of abuse, that this would be sort of right up my alley. So we discussed a little bit more, and we came up with the idea of looking at the prevalence and perceptions of elder abuse in Canadian Muslim immigrants. And since we were both in London, Ontario at the time, and there's a big immigrant Muslim population, mostly of sort of Lebanese, Arab origin, as well as South Asian, so Pakistani, Indian, we thought that we would have a pretty good sample size.
And at the time, were you also working with elders in the community, and you guys were thinking about this research on the side? Or
yeah.
Okay.
So I only had that 2-week elective in geriatrics, but I'm interested in family medicine, and I'm actually going into residency in family medicine. And so in any practice that you have, which I think a lot of people don't realize, with the aging population, you're bound to have a sizable senior population in your practice. And so even though I wasn't on geriatrics at the time that I was doing this, I still came into access with a lot, or contact with a lot of seniors.
And were there any specific cases that, you know, stood out as well as you guys were starting this research that sort of helped bridge the two?
Mm-hmm. So how our research really worked was actually not coming into contact with the seniors. It was more we designed a survey looking at, based on evidence-based tools, looking at elder abuse. And so these tools are normally used in a clinical setting by a family physician or a geriatrician who asks a senior to fill out the questions. And so the questions will include topics such as, have you ever felt unsafe? Have you ever had someone deal with your finances without your knowledge? And things like that, really looking at the well-being of the senior.
So it was a survey-based research.
Yeah. And so we really wanted to find out how much Muslims really knew about it. And so our research kind of morphed as we went through. And originally we wanted to look at prevalence, but we realized that before even starting that, we wanted to know like how much Muslims actually know about elder abuse. And so our research findings, which I just recently presented in Vancouver at the Canadian Geriatric Society conference, actually highlighted the fact that we don't really know a lot. Like a lot of the Muslim population, 19% in fact of the people that took our survey hadn't even heard of the term elder abuse before, which is quite concerning compared to the general population.
Because you would think that's a term that, even though it's not talked about, you would think that you'd hear about it,
exactly.
Right?
And only about 7% of the general population hadn't heard of it. So 19 versus 7, there's a big knowledge gap. Especially with the news right now and like a lot of stories that are covering elder abuse in the nursing home setting, you'd think that people would have heard of the term, but yeah, we were.
And it's interesting that I know you mentioned off air briefly about some statistics that you guys found about people in nursing homes, and that's something that is unheard of in the Muslim community, right? Because it's almost nursing homes is not somewhere where you go.
And so yeah, so that's originally what we thought as well, that a lot of people would not think that abuse happened in the nursing home, and more so would happen with a spouse or with a known family member. But on one of our research, one of our questions, they actually indicated that they thought that, you know, they agreed that most of the abuse would happen in a nursing home. And what makes you wonder, were they really thinking about Muslims in that setting, or were they thinking about the general population of seniors? But again, from talking to a lot of people in the community, there is a big push for having nursing homes, especially for seniors that don't have any children, don't have any family here, or seniors that have long chronic diseases with poor prognoses, such as Alzheimer's disease or like Parkinson's disease, other things like that that require a lot of care. People are having problems caring for seniors with that or their parents like that. So they are looking for options outside of the home.
And what about, did you find anything when you did your survey when it came to gender?
So the majority of our respondents were female, which I guess is usually the case. So it was about 63%. We didn't actually separate our questions a lot, but a lot of the respondents actually did believe that senior women were more likely to be abused than males. And that's not necessarily the case in the general population, according to what we know. So it was interesting that they thought that that women were more abused.
And is there any other, I know you mentioned quite a few, but any more surprising or interesting findings that surprised your research community as a whole?
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the respondents believed that seniors from the general population were abused at a higher frequency than Muslims, which isn't necessarily the case according to what we know. We don't really have exact stats, but the general population is about 10% of elders face elder abuse at some point in their life. And as far as we know, it doesn't really differ that much based on religion. And so for the fact that they thought this, we thought that maybe it's a little bit of a bias, like they don't want to see themselves as abusers, and that's why, you know, subconsciously they thought that the general population faces it more.
It's obviously, you know, it sounds like you got some very interesting and surprising findings, I think. What's happening now with this research? Because, you know, a lot of times research is great, you learn a lot, but then it's sort of, you know, I think the challenge is where do you go from here with this information? So no pressure to you, but where are you going with this?
Yeah, so as researchers, we're always looking at how we can take our research to the next step and how we can get involved with different people. And so what was interesting with our research in London is we really collaborated with the community. We got Muslim physicians involved, we got the local Muslim Resource Center involved, and we really tried to push it that way through their server lists.
And there was receptiveness and openness?
Oh yeah, for sure. People that work with seniors, are really interested in finding more out about this. And we hadn't actually contacted family doctors to help us with this, but now that I'm moving to Markham Stouffville Hospital and surprisingly, my researcher is also moving there as a geriatrician.
Oh, nice. What are the
chances?
Yeah,
we really lucked out, and I have to do a research project as a resident, so I'm really looking forward to taking this to the next step. We were actually recognized by the Muslim Medical Association of Canada for this research, and so they funded us a little bit, and they're pretty heavily involved in the Toronto community, so I met some people through that are interested in helping us out as well.
So is the plan to expand, take the survey and...
For sure. So we want to survey people in the GTA now. So we only did London, Ontario earlier. We want to survey people in the GTA. But we really realized that one of our limitations was that it was an online-based survey, and a lot of seniors aren't really that comfortable using an online platform. So we're really looking forward to printing it out. And we had initially had this idea in London too, but they don't have a formal setting where they have seniors getting together where we could survey them. So we're looking in the GTA, there are actually quite a few senior Muslim groups with immigrants in their sort of gatherings that we can go and survey in person. And there's actually recently an elder abuse research project that was conducted in Cambridge, Ontario. And what we found really interesting about that was that they actually got seniors involved. So people that were professionals, they were teachers, they were, you know, VPs, presidents of big firms. They came in and they were the ones actually conducting the research. And we found that seniors are actually more likely to talk to someone from their peer group than they are to talk to somebody like me.
Well, it's more driven from ground up, right?
And so we took people out of retirement, in that research project, not me, and paid them to do that. So it was something like, you know, worthwhile for them, increased social engagement, which again helps with long-term prognosis and quality of life. And so we're really looking forward to getting some seniors involved in our project as well.
Now, if people are watching and they're interested in learning more or getting involved with you personally, because I know you said you're looking to bring it, start it up in GTA, how can people, are you inviting people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. If they're interested in our research, if they're interested in knowing about the results, we're looking forward to publishing soon. And there's a few more conferences that we have lined up as well. And for sure, yeah, just email me and we can get in touch, and I can put you in touch with my supervisor if you would like that as well. And yeah, we can take it from there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ryhana. Always a very inspiring and engaging conversation.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.